So here it is, servers and services. I created this topic name because we are going to discuss about servers and their different services also. Okay. So here it is. First, this is a kind of model called a peer-to-peer model. Okay. What is this peer-to-peer model? So I have a system and I have a systems connected in the network. Okay. Systems connected in the network. These systems, one system having some data, for example, in one system, there is a data. So you want to access the data. You want to access the data. The systems, so you need a pen drive or a external hard disk or a floppy disk, CD-ROM, then you'll put it into the drive and access, right? That is olden days. But later, we got a network. Through network, you can able to access this. For example, this is PCA and B, C, D, E. These different systems. A system having a data and it is shared data. So I'm accessing the data from B. The original data is at A, but accessing from B. So from where I'm accessing, that is A is act like a server and B is act like a client, because in this instance, it is like providing that data information service, and here it is accessing. Okay, so this is like it's a peer-to-peer or a work group model. Means systems are communicating each other, or maybe sharing of information or sharing of resources, just like a printer resources. I have a printer. So we discussed about a shared printer also. This printer is connected to a PCE. So people will take a printout from their system through PCE, right? So this printer is shared from PCE. So then people will connect it through PCE only. Sharing of resources, sharing of information. Okay. So what we call it as a, okay, it is type of communications through network. So this is a peer-to-peer model. Peer-to-peer means devices are connected and communicating each other. That's it. It's a peer-to-peer model. There is no centralized kind of stuff. Means there is no separate centralized server. Okay. Like it contains the data, so everybody can able to access from centralized server. So that is called server and client models. Means there is centralized server and then people can connect it and accessing the data. A centralized server like a print server is there. So you can want to take a printout. So first you will take a permission from print server, then only you can connect it to printer. It's a centralized one. But in peer-to-peer, there is no centralization. Everything is individual systems are connected in the network. We share data, information, or resources, or any other form of communications. We do it. It's a peer-to-peer. In the peer-to-peer, one act like a server, another act like as a client in that particular instance only. Okay. The next model is server and client model. Server and client model. Server and client models means there is a specific server. For example, a storage server contains data. You are able to access the data from the storage server. I can access, you can access through network. Okay. Print server. So I can access the printer through this server. So this server managing multiple printers. So we can able to take a printout by accessing through this printer. So it will control who can able to access, what can able to access kind of stuff. You take a web server. Web server is also a server. So we are accessing a website from a web server. Centralized server. I can access that web content. You can access the web content, right? In the network. So this is a server and client model. In server and client model, there is a centralized server. Okay. The server provides a service. Client access the service. Okay. Server and client model. The server provides a service, the client access the service. See, again, peer-to-peer. It's a kind of work group model, sharing of information, data, resources between two or more systems without any centralization or a centralized control of that. Okay, in this one, every system individual control is there. Who can able to access, what can able to access that kind of stuff. In that case, it's act like a server and other one is act like a client. In that particular access time only, there is no specific server and client info things are there. But in the client and server model, server provides a service and client access the service. Web server provide web pages, we access the web pages, right? Understand, guys? Client and server and client.
Yes, sir.
So I told you, server provide a service, client access the service. Exactly say, the client will request for the specific service. For example, it is a web server. So from client, we are through our web browser, we are sending a request, right? HTTP colon slash slash that server IP address. So you are sending a request to the server for I want a web page. And client understand your request based on what protocol you use. So it will understand what is your request and it will give response to the client. It's a web server, it will provide a web page. You want to send a mail, right? You will send request to address from address and mail and click on send. So what happened from your system, request will send to the mail server. So mail server understand you want to send a mail to someone. So then it will understand it do as like here it will forward that mail to that destination. Okay. So actually say it is client request for a service to the server. Server provide a response according to the client request. So that is server and client model. So different examples we can able to tell like a web servers and all. So we'll see different type of servers based on the services also. And server and client, how they will understand what type of service. How my web server understand I'm accessing a web page. Maybe that web server is also providing mail services. It's providing both web and as well as a mail service. How the server understand you're asking about web or mail? Or maybe you're just a pinging only, ping related service only. Or maybe it is you're asking for storage services. Or maybe you want to upload a file to the server. So how the server understand, how we will make our understand of what communication it is based on the protocols. In networking, we learn already about a protocols. HTTP, HTTPS, FTP, SSH, Telnet, RDP, SMTP, POP3, IMAP, Kerberos, LDAP, DHCP, DNS, TFTP, NTP, SNMP. Okay, different types of it. For example, I have a database server. Oracle database server is there. I want to connect it to my server from my client PC. I want to access the database. I want to add some more additional records in the server. How can I connect it? Using that client application, protocol, and port number. 1521 is a TNS listener port number. Using that, I can able to connect. So I have a MySQL database service there. I want to connect MySQL database server. So I will use what it is, MySQL database port number 3306. Okay. So I have to upload a file into my remote web server. So I want to upload a file. So FTP protocol I use it. Okay. So by protocols, we can understand what type of communication. So servers and clients understand what type of communication it is, what communication, what type of request it is by protocols. Okay. So another point. And I told server like web server, file server like that. How can we call it is a this specific server based on what service it is providing? Like a web server provide web services. File server provide file related services like FTP services. Okay. Mail servers provide mail related services, right? Deployment services. Authentication server provide authentication related services. Okay. Print server provide print related services. So server we are calling, so it is a server. We are calling this is a specific server based on what service it is providing. Okay. And how this server can able to provide that specific service. I have a server. For example, it is a mail server it is. And how it is become a mail server. So, for example, I take a machine with some operating system. Inside, I will install that mail server application related things, right? Like, for example, it is a Linux based operating system. I installed a Zimbra application. Then it is become mail server. I install Zimbra application and I configure it as a mail server. So Microsoft Windows Server it is. Operating system is Microsoft Windows Server operating system. I installed Microsoft Exchange application and I configured it. Then it become mail server. Okay, I have a Microsoft Windows Server. In that one, there is a built-in role is there that is called Internet Information Service (IIS). If you install it and configure it, it become web server. You take a Linux machine and you install Apache HTTP or NGINX or a Glassfish, Tomcat. It become web server or an application server. Okay. So you take a machine and you install a Oracle database. It become database server. Okay. So like that. How a server become a specific type of server? By installing and configuring their built-in features or roles or some applications or packages in that specific server, it becomes that particular server. Okay, you install a nginx package in a Linux machine, it become web server. Not just by installing, you have to configure it, like so how to access and all other things are to configure. Okay, so some servers, like mostly in a Windows servers, by default there is certain roles and features. By installing that roles and features, it become a specific server. You can make a Windows server as a web server by installing its built-in features. You can make it as a VPN server. You can make it as a authentication server, Active Directory server. You can make it as a DHCP server. You can make it as a DNS server. You can make it as a virtualization Hyper-V server like that. Okay. So by installing its built-in features and roles, or sometimes it required for certain type of services in needed to install an application or a packages. So this is how it is become. So, guys understand about server and client, protocols, services,
Yes, sir.
how it is become server. So what is peers, peer-to-peer server and client. So I told about different servers, right? So we'll see some of the servers generally we use in a regular basis. Either you or may not use create a server yourself, but you are using a services from different service servers. Okay, so we'll see that. I call something as a server based on what service it is providing. So what are those servers? Web server, file server, DHCP server, DNS server, domain controller, which is authentication server, WDS, Windows Deployment Server. Okay. So I will tell the purposes also. Mail servers, VPN server, storage server, database server, virtualization server, or hypervisors. Okay. Virtualization server. So like that, so many types of servers are there. Depends upon what service it is providing. Web servers provide web pages. You can access your web servers with the HTTP or HTTPS protocol. Okay, HTTP is Plain text format. HTTPS is secure one, means encrypted format. Okay, so you install HTTPD in your machine, it become web server. You install Microsoft, if it is Microsoft server, then built-in Internet Information Service web server. By installing Tomcat or Glassfish, it's become web server. NGINX, it become web server. By installing FTP or VSFTP, STTP, it become file server. You can upload a file and download a file from a file server. Okay, DSC, which provide IP address to our client machines. Just make your Windows server or Linux server as a DHCP server. From that server, we are able to get an IP addresses automatically. DNS server. So purpose of DNS is I type like this. Okay, newrelic.com or a PR puzzler for PRTZ application. Okay, I type it in a Google, right? So I've opened google.com or maybe java.tpoint.com, but how to communicate with an IP address? I don't know their java.tpoint.com IP address. What happened? System send a request to the DNS server and it will give that related IP address to you. So you can create your own DNS server for your organization. So what is a DNS server? Name to IP address resolution. You given a name, you will get an IP address of that machine. Okay. And port number is 50th. Domain controller. So generally, you may not see the domain controllers right now, but you know, this laptop is a part of domain controller. If I want to do certain things in my system, so for example, I logged into this laptop. And you know, Ravan sir also can log into this laptop, even without his account created inside a laptop. How? Because of all our accounts are in the domain controller. It is a centralized authentication. So I want to access a printer, I want to access some machine. Okay, I want to access some data storage. So I will get authenticated by this domain controller. It's a centralized authentication server. Okay, in a Windows, Microsoft Windows, we have a role called AD, Active Directory or Active Directory Domain Services role. By installing that role and configuring it, so it become domain controller. Okay, the protocol used for authentication is Kerberos protocol. LDAP. Okay, one second. Okay, WDS server, Windows deployment server. What happened? I want to install. One second. Hello. Okay. Windows deployment server. So I want to install my operating system in a 10 machines at a time. Okay. I can't go to each and every machine to install OS. It will take a lot of time to install, right? So what I will do it, I'll create a server. I take one Windows server. In that one, I configured it as a WDS server. So built-in role is there, WDS server role is there. So I install a configure and I will attach all my operating system images in it. So from that server, I can install to the multiple devices at a time through network. Through network, I can install the OS. That is what it is, deployment servers. In Microsoft Windows, it is WDS. Okay. Mail servers. So we can send and receive mails. Okay. So different applications support. So you want a mail server. So take one Windows server, install a Microsoft Exchange application, install it and configure it, become mail server. Provide mail related services. You can send and receive mails like that. Zimbra mail server is an application. So to install in a Linux machine and configure it as a mail server. So for your organization, from your organization to outside also, you can send and receive mails. Okay. So that is mail server, mail exchange purpose. VPN server. So you are I'm working right now in my office only, right? So I can connect it to my servers in the data center. I can connect directly through the LAN, but I'm doing work from home, for example. So I have a server in my data center. So I have to connect it to that server, like a database server. Maybe it is like a database server I want to connect from my home. So I cannot connect directly through internet. So I need something which is to get connected from my home network to my office private network. So I use VPN server. So in my office, I put a one VPN server. Okay. So then I'm from my home through internet, I connected to VPN server. From VPN server, I can enter into my office data center private network. So it is securing. You can able to connect from your private network, your network to your organization network through internet. Over internet, you can connect your private to your office private network. Over internet, you can connect it using secure channels, secure tunnels. Okay, you can connect it. It means while you are connecting through VPN, your whatever data you're sending and receiving, it is got secured one. Storage servers. Okay, so I have a data. My data is in my laptop, right? So no one can able to access because I can access from my local data. But I need a centralized storage of data. For example, project files are there. So then not only me, though, my team is also required to access that project files. So I will store in some specific location. So from everybody can able to access using sharing files or a NFS protocols. It's used for sharing data. That is storage servers, NAS type of storage servers it is, or CAFS type of storage servers. Okay, NAS type of storage, NFS or CSF type of communication. SAN type of storage. SAN is usually like a huge amount of data storage. Block level storages. For example, I need to store data centralized. I have a database server. The database server's entire data has to be stored centralized in the one some disk space. In case my database server is gone, still I have a data in my storage space. I can connect it to another system so then I can able to access it. So that type of you want a creation. Then you use SAN type of storage servers. Okay. So storage servers, database servers. Okay. So you want to create your data in the tabular format. So you need to connect it to your database server, right? So how the database server is created by installing database server applications. Okay, Oracle DB, MySQL, MS SQL. By installing into a machine, then it has become database server. So you can connect to the database server, you can insert the data inside and you can access the data. Virtualization server. What is virtualization server? So nowadays, I am using my own virtual machines in my laptop. That is only for my access purpose only. I can do it myself. But in my organizations, different people require different type of platforms are required. For example, there is a software developer is there. He developed an application. You want to test in the our environment, test environment is required. Development environment. So you want to check it, how the application is performed. So you need a virtual machine. You need a virtual machine. You can't create virtual machine in your local machine, right? You centrally because you will going to connect it and others also get connected that virtual machine. So that's for flexibility, network access purpose. So we need a server. In that server, you can create a multiple virtual machines with a different operating system and you can install different applications and you can run it. Okay, just for an example. Okay, so that is called a virtualization, means there is a hypervisors different hypervisors are available from Microsoft, Hyper-V, from VMware, vSphere, from Citrix, Xen Server, from Proximox V, from Red Hat Enterprise Virtualization. These are the different hypervisors installed into a physical machine. Then it becomes that specific virtualization server. Okay, so people will like admin will connect it to that virtual server and create a virtual machine for different clients purposes, different users or customers purposes. So they will create it. This is virtualization server. Okay, so these are the sum of different types of server. Out of that is I list few other servers like web server, DHCP server, DNS server, WDS server, mail server, VPN server, storage server, database server, virtualization servers. Understand, guys? Servers, which we call the servers based on what service it is providing.
Yes, sir.
So I will discuss up to here and we'll take a break. Then after break, you will see this part. Okay. Server operating system. So we are installing different server applications, or maybe I said we can enable and configure or install and configure the built-in roles or features, or by installing some applications, server applications in it. You can install some server applications in it, or maybe packages related to it in a machine, right? So where you will install this? In the server operating systems. Server operating systems are support to install different type of server based applications, and it also having internet in built-in features and roles. By installing that features and roles, you can make it as a specific server also, right? So what are those server operating systems from Microsoft? In Microsoft we have a desktop operating system, server operating systems are there. So here is a list of server operating system from Windows NT 2000. In NT itself, lot of versions are there. Okay, in NT, lot of versions. Windows NT, server 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4.6, 5 up to 6. Sorry. 1 second, guys. I'm going to. Okay. Just I shifted cabin from there to here. I came to okay. Okay. So in Windows NT itself, there are a lot of versions are there. Just we don't require right now that one. We'll see different versions of Windows servers. So Windows Server 2000, 2003, 2008, 2008 R2, 2012, 12 R2, 16, 2019, 2022, 2025 is an upcoming one. So it is already pre-release has happened, but the final has to be released in this year or maybe. Okay, it will go into release. But 22 is up to 22 is available. Okay, these are the Microsoft Windows servers. In generally, in Microsoft Windows Server has built-in different roles and features are there. For example, Active Directory, DHCP, DNS, web server, FTP. print server, Hyper-V virtualization server, built-in roles are there. Okay. Deployment services, Windows deployment services, routing and remote access services, just like VPN services. Okay. So other few more additional services are available in the Windows Server, built-in roles and features. Other than that one, you can install different applications, server-based application. Just like I said, Microsoft Exchange is an application you can install into Windows Server, and you can make it as a mail server also. Okay, just like that, you install Microsoft SQL Server in the Windows Server, it become database server. Okay, so either you install the built-in roles and features, or by installing some applications, we can make it as a specific type of server. Linux-based operating system. In Linux and Unix, basically server-based operating system only. For desktop purpose, very less we are using. Red Hat Enterprise Linux, CentOS, Fedora, Oracle Enterprise Linux. These are all Fedora-based operating systems. Fedora-based operating system used for a server purpose. Debian, Ubuntu servers, Ubuntu desktop. These are all same family, and this Debian, Ubuntu servers are also used for server purposes. In Unix, from Unix also we have a different server operating system. So Solaris, actually it is actually came from Sun Microsystem, Solaris. Now it is under Oracle itself. Okay. Now Red Hat Enterprise Linux, Oracle Enterprise Linux, Solaris Linux, all are comes under Oracle only, including your Java also. Java, NetBeans, all comes under Oracle only. Okay. HPUX is a HP-based server workstations are there. So this HPUX only works in that kind of server hardware specific OSs. Even IBM uses Unix-based operating system for IBM mainframe server operating system for mainframe operating system. Like ZYOS, AS by 400, is a different kind of versions are there. And again, virtualization servers. So these virtualization servers means to make a virtualization server part, direct hypervisors are available. Just like your basic operating system. So just same thing like hypervisors, directly we can install into a physical hardware. Okay, so including Microsoft Hyper-V server OS is there, so that's you're installing the bare machine, physical machine directly as like a OS you are installing. It become Hyper-V server virtualization. Okay, same from my VMware from VMware organization. The vSphere is a ESXi hypervisor installed into physical server. It become a virtualization server. Xen server from Citrix, Xen servers installed into a machine. It become virtualization server. Proximox from Proximox V installed into a physical machine. It become virtualization server. Okay. So these are the different server operating system. Yes, sir. Okay, up to here.
Yes, sir.
And this is we calling something as a server. Okay, generally based on what service it is providing or what operating system, server operating system is installed. Like that also, this is a Windows server. This is Linux server. This is Unix server. Okay, this is Solaris server. This is Red Hat Enterprise Linux server. This is CentOS server. Okay, so this is a 2012, 2022 server. So Windows Server 2022. Like that, we calling based on operating system, or we are calling it is as a service it is providing. Even hardware. So I came from top to bottom. First is application-based services. Next is operating system. Now it is hardware related. So hardware-based also we calling something as a server. Okay. Whatever it is, it will provide what service it is providing, what OS it is inside. That is second part. That is second. But this is in a hardware wise also we can call it as a certain things as a server, irrespective of what service it is providing, what operating system is installed. So what are those things? Is a tower server, rack server, blade servers. So I added one point here for a hardware part that is called Xeon's processor. We are using Intel i3 processor, i5 processor, i7 processor, AMD Ryzen processor 3, Ryzen 5, Ryzen 7, like that we are using, right? Different processors for our desktop or laptop purposes. But for servers has to run 24 by 7. The servers has to run 24 by 7. Continuously it is run. So it need a powerful processor with a more number of cores, threads, and as well as what we can say higher cache memories. So, and that processor must support higher RAM capacities also. 64 GB RAM, 1 terabyte of RAM, 2 terabytes of RAM, like that. It has to be support higher RAM capacities and multiple cores and as well as higher cache memories. So one of the processor is Intel Xeon processor, Xeon, Xeon processor. Okay. Of course, whatever the type of server it is, the processors are came. So just like you are learning about your hardware, like so every system must have a CPU, every system must have a RAM, every system has a motherboard, every system has BIOS. Okay. The same way, these servers also having same kind of hardware, but with different component manufacturers are information is different. Just like CPU different. Their support, their capacities, their withstanding is different. Our laptops you can't run for 24 by 7, it will be damaged. Again, so tower server, rack server, and blade server. See, this is a tower server, which is look like our desktop itself, but tower servers. Okay, so look like a desktop only, but really it is not a desktop. It contains some things which is like see, I will open in then see Xeon E77 sorry 2224G processor. Processor is 3.5 gigahertz, 32 GB RAM is there inside now, 2 terabyte of SATA hard drive, DOS operating system. This is like a home purpose server, it is look like that. Okay. It's a server. So this is a basic server only. But if you go the depth of different servers, then you will get a lot of facilities inside this server. So this is cost is high, but the different things. The best one is Tower, TOWR, Tower server. Just I need a tower server, not rack server. See this tower? So there is a storage, additional storage bay is there. Means normally in lab, our desktop, we have an internal hard disk are there, but these disks are SAS disks, which we can insert and remove whenever we require. Built-in RAID controllers are there, built-in SCSI controllers are there, disk connectivities. Inside we have a processor, RAM, multiple RAM support, multiple processors we can able to insert inside. Okay. these tower servers are costly, of course, but thing is, you want to make like your organization is smaller organization. Just you need a 3, 4 servers for your organization. So one is for some authentication, some is only for virtualization purpose, some another server is for DHCP, DNS purpose. Okay, one server is given for a deployment purpose. Like the 3, 4 servers are enough for your organization. Then we can go for tower server. Why? Because of the size is bigger and multiple cables are connected. But it is simple. So individually we can able to see and manage this individual tower servers. Next type of server is rack server. Rack server. These rack servers fitted into the rack. It means one rack server means this is also a server. It contains CPU, RAM, storage, motherboard, everything is there, including your SCSI storage spaces, SCSI disk that the outside that we are seeing is this also SCSI disk, okay, like SAS disk storage purpose, okay. So which contains, it is also a server, same as a tower server. Okay, it contains multiple processor sockets, RAM slots, okay, BIOS chipset, motherboard, SSD connectivities, and SAS type of disconnectivities, built-in RAID controllers, SCSI controllers also there. These racks will directly fit into this type of rack. See, these are the all rack servers. These are all racks, contains rack servers. These rack servers, for example, is if you see this hand movement is inserting a rack inside or removing a rack from the inside. This is called a rack. One rack, one server. For example, for my organization, I need more servers, like at least 10 servers are required for different purposes. Okay, one is like authentication purpose, another is telephone communication purpose, IP telephone communication purpose, another server for virtualization, another server for different database server running. So I need more servers requirement for my organization to reduce the space and cable connectivities. So easy to maintenance, I go with the rack servers. The rack server is same as a capacity like a tower servers, depends upon the model, of course. Another one is blade server. What is the blade server? See, this guy is inserting a blade. Okay, this guy is inserting a blade. This is a blade. The blade server, which is blade, is also one server. Blade server itself, one server. So this is one rack, contains multiple blades, almost like a 4+4, like almost 16 to 20 servers. We can able to put it in a single case. Okay, it's in one rack like that. So these blade servers, each blade is one server. Each blade is one server. Each blade contains processor, RAM, storage, okay, internal storage kind of stuff, it is there. But not like your tower and rack server. Tower and rack servers are costly as compared to blade servers. Why? Because of tower and rack servers contains the built-in storage, SAS, fuzzy storage, right configurations are there inside. But blade don't have that kind of additional storage space is not there. So blades are used centralized storage from NAS and SAN only. Mainly blades are used for higher processing purpose, faster multiple servers you required, more number of servers are required in less space, and multiple servers with high redundancy and fault tolerance kind of stuff. So we use the blade servers most. Okay, one blade, one server. Compared to the cost is lesser than tower and blade servers. because you know additional facilities. So simply say these are the three different types of servers. Tower, rack, and blade servers are there. Okay, guys, understand how it is look like and what is their usage. Hmm?
So right name, my name also says Srikar.
Okay, okay. Um,
Sir, myself, Bharadwaj, H12. Yes.
yeah. Okay, guys, understand this tower, blade, and rack servers, how it is look like. So we'll
Yes, sir.
come to the data. Very. Yeah, we'll come to the simple part is data center. So we learn about networking, we learn about this kind of servers and all, right? So in organization, so we do a lot of different kind of infrastructure kind of stuff, right? So our profile is service desk and we have to manage one of the primary roles and responsibilities to monitor the data centers, monitoring of data center, accessing data center internal services, find out any issues. So different aspects also there, right? So thing is about we are a service provider. We are working in under service provider. So it means there is a data centers. So what is in the data centers? Data center contains servers, first of all. Data center or a server room. Some people call it a server room. Some people call it as a data center. The room which is contains different set of servers. Depends upon organization. They use tower servers, blade servers, or rack servers as per requirement. They use it. Network. So you have a servers. The servers running with the different types of applications. One server running a Exchange application for mail communication. One server is for an Active Directory user authentication purpose. One server for DHCP, one server for DNS, some servers for web services, some are for database services, some are for application services. So different servers running different applications from their different services we are getting. But how we are able to connect it, how we are able to communicate, how we are getting it through the network only. It means this your data center that room contains network components like switches, routers, fiber optical connections, TCP, UDP connections, okay, fiber optical based connectivities, NICs, firewalls, checkpoint servers. So different ways we are connecting these servers using switches and routers, fiber optical based connectivities, storage devices. Okay, SAS or SCSI type of storage devices, we use it for to store our data. Different type of storage types also there, NAS type, SAN type of storages for centralized storage purposes. Another things like iSCSI, RAID, LVM kind of configurations we do in the storage devices. Okay, um, these are about your data center. So this is an example of data center. If you see this example of data center, you may get some idea like this. See it is, these are all some rack servers contains OpenStack application inside. OpenStack is a private cloud platform to create for your private cloud, means that virtual machines and storage inside this private cloud. Okay, OpenStack. PPOE switch for IP telephone. Okay, IP telephone connectivity related switches. So in organization, when they want to call international calling, they will call from the IP telephone. So that related connectivity switch. RAID 6 10 terabyte, that is NAS, and means it's a kind of RAID controller storage part is there. Fiber channel means fiber optical based connectivity storage space. Okay. vCenter. So I told about vSphere or ESXi virtualization server to manage multiple virtualization servers from centralized one called a vCenter server. Okay, even we have some servers with a ESXi 6.0. It means it is ESXi means virtualization servers are there. For their maintenance, we have a vCenter server. And these are OpenStack servers. And this is fiber optical channels. Okay, so what is a data center means? It contains different types of servers. Okay, and for those server connectivity network, storages, and other applications. Okay, so it is softwares, servers, storage, network, environment monitoring. So how this data center servers network things are going on, monitoring it. Provide a power backup. So then even your main power supply is gone, it will work runs on the UPS. If UPS is gone, then we need another backup. It's like a generators. To run the generator, we need a diesel. So other aspects also we have to manage. Okay. Cooling system. Servers are running, it generates lot of heat. So you have to maintain proper cooling system. So then only the servers will run normally. Okay, power supply system, cooling system, physical access permissions are compulsory to provide in the data center. Okay. Data center monitoring means monitoring of your data center, uh, like whether what is the servers are on or off, storage is there or not. Okay, what is their status, services status. So data center monitoring, you can get it. Okay, so this is about your servers, different types of servers and their services. Next one, we'll start with the individual computers. From here, we'll